pretty much go ahead and talk about them now. This one team. It's one team in the NFC. One of the hottest teams in the NFC. And no, I'm not talking about the Detroit Lions, who won last night in a nice rivalry game against the Green Bay Packers. They won last night. So, no, not talking about them. I'm talking about the other team in the NFC. The team in the NFC East that's winning, that's leading the division right now. It's the Philadelphia Eagles. Let's face it. They are one of the best teams in the league. They have the best defense in the league. This is the turnaround from last year to this year for the Philadelphia Eagles. Just their defense. Last year, they were 26th in yards per game, 25th in yards per play, 30th in third down percentage, 30th in red zone percentage, 24th in sacks, and 28th in points per game. That was just their defense last year. This year, first in yards per game, second in yards per play, second and third down percentage, fifth in red zone touchdown percentage, seventh in sacks, and fourth in points per game. They're only allowing 18.2 points per game this season. Last year, they were allowing almost 24 points per game. They also have some young talent on this team that's helping this team out. You got Quinyon Mitchell, Cooper DeJean, Jalen Collar, Nolan Smith, Nakobe Dean, Jalen Hunt, Jordan Davis. You got Quinyon Mitchell. I may have said his name already, but you got young players on this team that's going to be here for a good little while to help this team continue to be where they are right now. And the Eagles have won 8 straight games. They've won 8 straight games. They haven't lost a game since before the bye week. They had their bye week in week 5 and have won a game ever since then. 8-0. And people want to say, well, who did they play? Well, they played against the team that was top in the division at first, the Washington Commanders. I get it. They also haven't beaten a good team this year for real, so I understand it. But they went and beat the Baltimore Ravens this past Sunday, and we know how great the Ravens are. And the Ravens don't lose a lot of games, especially in the NFC. They gave Lamar Jackson his second loss all time against the NFC. The only other team they lost to was the Giants. Who was on that team? Saquon Barkley. And Saquon Barkley didn't even go crazy in this game. He broke off for a 25-yard touchdown, but it wasn't huge. But like I said, the Eagles are also another reason why Justin Tucker is in the doghouse. 7 points just in that game alone that he accounted for them not having. And this is without Devontae Smith playing in the game, one of their second best wide receiver, or their best, depending on who you talk to. A.J. Brown was in the game. Dallas Goedert played, but, it wasn't a perfect offensive game, but defense stepped up. Defense really stepped up in that game. Zay Flowers did not go off in that game, nor did, it's Nelson Aguilar. I'm not expecting him to go off. The other wide receiver was hurt. It wasn't much really happening, and the Ravens had chances to take this game. It just didn't happen. But the Eagles defense also made plays when they needed to. The Derrick Henry didn't have a breakout run. And that's what the thing. You don't need to stop him, but you got to contain him enough to where you don't allow him to have these 8, 10, 15, 20-yard runs. You don't want this to happen, and they pretty much contained that. And that was almost the same thing for Saquon until that touchdown that he had. But other than that, they played a pretty good game on him. And the Eagles now are, like I said, second best team in the NFC, 10-2. Some people may say they're the best team in the NFC, but hey, that's not for me to say. But they are right there. They are right there. And they just have a few games left to play to see exactly where they end up at. But this team they're knocking on the door. They're knocking on the door to the Lions and say, hey, we right here. We're close. And like I said, 8-game win streak. they dogs. So welcome to the Dog Philly.